The 2025 Reese Senior Bowl is in the books, and I got your offensive risers and fallers right after this. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the WayneBreezie, and welcome to the Reese's Senior Bowl Risers and Fallers. I'm going to do this in two segments, so I'm going to give you all the offensive players that I thought, rose and probably fell in their draft stock from participating in the Senior Bowl. It's a great time. Players come together. They get some of the best NFL coaching. They get kind of like a quick pre-snap of what NFL coaching is going to be like from the organization that puts this all together, the Senior Bowl committee, Jim Nagy. They put together a really good week of sports, football, interviews, press, media, fans, you name it. This is the place that you want to be. And for the college players, it's the best of the best, right? They get together, they compete with the best of the best. So, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and click on subscribe. If you want to support the channel, become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew. All right. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, our partners over at residency.com. Use that promo code www.residency.com, promo code SFBreezy, and you can save on your total purchase. I promise you'll save on your total purchase. So let's get down to my offensive risers and fallers. All right, we'll get to my offensive. So I'm gonna do every position: quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive line. All right, we'll do that, and then I'm gonna give you the risers and the fallers in each. So one per category. All right, so here we go. So one riser quarterback, one faller quarterback. All right, so forth and so forth. All right, so it was really good watching some of these players out there. I will say, just getting a hands on some of these players, it was pretty cool to watch these guys go out there and compete. It's my third year going, and I had a blast. Shout out to the content creators, 49er content creators that were out there with me. They did a tremendous job. Steph Sanchez, Johnny Dell, Brad Graham from SF Niners. Like, everybody just did a great job. I just thought it was a cool time for everybody to come together. All right, let's get into it, man. My first riser, all right, quarterback. I felt like stocks they're going to rise a little bit for this particular. I thought Dylan Gabriel from Oregon was money. He's 5'2", 202, 9-inch hand, 30-inch arms, 71, 68-inch wingspan. All right. His senior year, he was 72.9%, which is exactly what I thought. I saw an efficient, hard throwing quarterback. I'm talking about hard throwing quarterback. Efficient, hard throwing quarterback, 1,000%. His passes were pretty much on the money. He was very accurate. Not a lot of deep ball throws for Dylan Gabriel, but I saw him move the chains. I saw him move in the 2-minute drill. I saw him move, and he did it well. And I understand he's a little undersized. He's 5'10". He's not at the 6-foot mark as far as where quarterbacks, you kind of typically want these quarterbacks to be 6'2", I guess, 6'2" and up. He's a little bit on the shorter side, but he has a cannon for an arm, and he throws a hard ball, like a really, really hard pass to fit probably through some really tight windows. He had almost 4,000 yards his year, last year at Oregon, average 8.6 per attempt, 30 TDs and only 6 interceptions. But again, just watching him play out there with his guy, Tez Johnson, and they did a good job in mixing things up. I thought the coaches did a good job in mixing things up. They knew he had a rapport with Tez Johnson, but he didn't only throw to Tez. He had plethora of receivers to throw to. But I thought Dylan Gabriel, I think his stocks are going to trend upwards. He definitely made an impact out there on the football field during Senior Bowl week. So congratulations to Dylan Gabriel. Stocks are rising for this young gentleman right there. All right, so let's go stocks down. The faller, Jalen Milroe, quarterback. He is 6'1", 228, 6/8 inch hands, small hands. That's going to hurt him a little bit. 31, 28-inch arm, 74, 68 inches in wingspan. and he looked inaccurate. He was very inaccurate. Had a couple of deep pass throws, though. A couple of deep passes that he did connect on. One to Jack Besh, for sure. Nice little route. But I think what's going to help him out is his athleticism. He's an athletic, mobile type of a quarterback. I mean, this kid, you can see right here, he had 16 throwing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, but 20 rushing touchdowns. 20 rushing touchdowns. And I feel like right now that comp is like what, Anthony Richardson out in Indianapolis. I feel like that's my comp for Jalen Milroe. But if he can have a strong, he has a chance to up his stock a little bit, right? Right now I feel like they're he didn't bomb the Senior Bowl, but he just didn't look good. And I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know why I was expecting a little bit more. I guess because he went to Alabama, played quarterback for Alabama. I was just expecting, a little bit more accuracy, especially on the short passing, the efficient throws. There was no efficiency. The accuracy was very inaccurate. But he did hit a couple of passes down the field, so he does have a strong arm that will go in his favor. And he also is mobile. He's very athletic, and I can tell you if he can pull the ball down and run, that'd be great for him. I wouldn't be surprised if like a team like the Philadelphia Eagles kind of got this guy in one of their rounds of drafting because he kind of does what Jalen Hurts does. Right now, can he develop into a more efficient type passer, accurate type passer? Yeah, but his footwork is all the way off. Like, it doesn't have great footwork as a quarterback. So I will say that his stocks, they fell. They fell big time. They definitely fell big time for Jalen Milroe. All right, those are our quarterbacks. Make sure you hit that like button. All right, here we go. Running backs. Now, I'm a running back connoisseur, in my opinion. That's just kind of like what I love. I gravitate to running backs and linebackers because I play both of those positions by trade. So those are the positions that I kind of like just gear up and get into. I really loved what I saw from Marcus Yarns out of freaking Delaware. Yes, small school Delaware. Marcus Yarns, I thought, had the best Senior Bowl experience as far as trending upwards. Because in the pass catching game, in the receiving game, he was unguardable. I thought he was a wide receiver out there running routes. I won't tell you how many times I was tricked thinking that he was a player from Michigan because their uniforms are very similar. And so out there, they only wear the same helmet. They wear their team helmets, not their team uniforms. And so I got tricked up plenty of times. But when he ran, outside zone running back, when he ran, it was like lightning out there. He's a very quick, great, very fast dude. Definitely liked what I saw from Marcus Yarns. 5'10", 189, 9-inch hands. Great hands, too, by the way. Like, he will be a threat, maybe some type of a scat back in the NFL, moving up to the next level. Could be a return guy. He can help a lot of teams out early. He's got to get his weight up. But I thought he had one of the best Senior Bowls. Now, he didn't play much in the actual game, but, in practice, when he was utilized, he was hard to get. He was hard to catch, and he was hard to cover. You can see his arm span, 71 to 58-inch wingspan for him. He rushed for 849 yards on 133 attempts, 6 touchdowns. He caught 17 receptions on 23 targets for almost 300 yards, too. So all-purpose, he gave you 1,000 yards. He was an all-purpose 1,000-yard back coming out of Delaware. He had a total of 11 TDs. I think Marcus Yarns is going to be trending up. Once that combine hits, if he runs a 4.3, I asked him, I said, hey, man, what do you think you're going to run in a 40? He says, 4.3. Confident, too. I love confidence. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck. He's an Eagles fan. You let that sink in however you want. Shout out to Eagles fans out there. Fly, Eagles, fly if you're watching this show. Make sure you hit that like button. Donovan Edwards, man, I'm a go blue guy. This is my guy. I don't know what the issue was with Michigan players, but Donovan, I thought, had really solid practices, but they didn't run the ball a lot, and they didn't utilize him a lot. Now, I don't know if his stocks are falling because he was misutilized or underutilized or whatever it is in that nature, or if he just wasn't good enough to crack the roster. Maybe he was dealing with some type of injury. I don't know. But you got nothing explosive from Donovan Edwards, and I think he's a mixture between power back, tackle breaking running back. He's a big guy, man. 5'10", 215. It's a big back. Pretty solid back, 10-inch hands. Has good hands. Great catching out of the backfield. Watching him run routes out of the backfield, beating linebackers, I'm like, yeah, but they wouldn't use him. So I think his stock's going to fall, unfortunately, just for the misuse, right? Or him not being able to do whatever he needed to do to crack the rotation of the running backs in the Senior Bowl. But it was good to see him out there. Great to talk to him. You can see his production was low this year. You got to go back to the year prior when they won the championship. I mean, like I said, Donovan Edwards, home run hitting back. Can't wait to see what he runs in the 40. But he can be used in the pass catching and the receiving game as well. Unfortunately, at the Senior Bowl, he didn't do. I just felt like he must have didn't do what he needed to do to crack the roster, to crack the rotation. So if you guys are Michigan fans out there, this is not a shot at Donovan Edwards. I'm gonna go blue to the heart. But he didn't do anything to stand out amongst the other running backs. And I thought him coming in, him being a national champion a couple of years back, him playing with a chip on his shoulder, I just had more expectations for Donovan Edwards in his performance. But again, I think he was underutilized. That's my opinion. So falls for Donovan Edwards, man. It's tough to talk about Michigan players like that, but it is what it is. Tight end of the week had to go to Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Miami. 6'4", 251, 9 5/8 inch hands, 33, 18-inch arm, 81, 18 inches wingspan. Now, his production was low in college. He dealt with some injuries throughout his collegiate career, couldn't really get on the football field. So his production was relatively low. But 16.9 yards per reception. At the Senior Bowl, he was the best tight end out there on the football field. And I know the number one tight end coming in there was Harold Fannin Jr. for Bowling Green, get it. But between this guy's hands and his route running, it may just be the smoothest route runner I've seen at the tight end position. He has really soft hands to where he can get open, and if that ball's thrown in his radius of catching, his catch radius, it's a catch. It's a catch. There weren't many catches from him that weren't touchdowns. So I think Elijah Arroyo, on the next level, got him as a day 2 guy for sure. Second or third round, doesn't matter. He'll go day 2. But his stocks are definitely on the up and up. On the up and up for sure. 1,000%, because all he did was catch touchdowns. And I know people are going to be like, well, is he a 49er? Can he block? Nah, I don't think blocking is in his wheel route of what he does. What he does is get skinny and gets open. And so he's like a sneaky get open too, right? Because he doesn't have blazing speed. But if you leave him on a one-on-one, he's winning. It's weird. One-on-one, why? Because he's probably going to be matched up with a safety or a linebacker. And if you leave him with a one-on-one, he's going to out-physical them, and he's going to find a way to get open, and he has a bigger catch radius than them, so he makes the plays. Only concern about Elijah Arroyo is, can he stay healthy? But he was tight end number 1 for sure. Money, he's the riser. The faller, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying that. Harold Fannin Jr. is the faller. I can't believe I'm saying that. I apologize for the typo on his name. There's 2 N's in there. I just seen it. I can't go back and change it at the moment. Actually, I can. So let's get rid of this. I'm gonna go change it as we speak. But I really feel that Harold Fannin Jr. didn't do enough to impress. I was looking for, a dynamic tight end, and I just don't think he did enough to impress the dynamics. He comes in day 1, drops a couple of passes. You're talking about the number 1 tight end, pass-catching tight end in college football in 2024, 117 receptions, and he drops some passes on the first day. Now, listen, drops are going to happen. I get it. He didn't get it. He didn't understand how he dropped the pass. But, I like the way he bounced back the next couple of days. So he didn't have the best day 1 practice, but I feel like the day 2 practice, the day 3 practice, he did a quick bounce back. Now, I do apologize because I do want to fix that typo. So as you see me right now, I'm going to be working on a quick graphic because I did it as a graphic. So that means I have to actually edit. I have to actually edit the joint. So let me go ahead and do that. But Harold Fannin Jr., overall, I still have him as a top tight end. I still have him possibly being the 3rd tight end off the board. Possibly being the 3rd tight end off the board. Again, possibly being the 3rd tight end off the board. Because I like what I saw from Elijah Aurora, but the kid production in college is bar none. And you can't you got to watch him in tape. You got to watch the film. You got to watch how he gets open. He's not a smooth route runner. So that's going to be a problem. That's going to hinder. I don't think he has top speed. That's going to hinder him. There's so many little things that I think may, hinder him to cause his production, to cause him to drop. But from his Senior Bowl practice, and listen, when I say people are risers or fallers, don't take the falling as a negative connotation, please. They weren't terribly bad. They just weren't as expected, in my opinion. They just weren't as expected. And so I expected him to be better. I expected betterness from him. I'm not going to lie. I really did. I expected him to be better. And yes, I made up a word called betterness. But I just have him falling just a little bit. And it sucks in this thing. He did take snaps at the fullback position, so that's good for him. Because the question is, he's going to be a weapon in the NFL. And so how will he be utilized in the NFL? He's 6'3". I think these little measurables too, I feel like they hinder him as well, right? 6'3", 238. So he's light. He's not as big as the tight ends as we want. He's not as tall as the tight ends as we expect. Do the other measurables, can he be athletic enough? Will his athleticism help him rise back up? That's going to be a blaring question. But you can see 117 receptions, 1,555 yards, 13.3 yards per reception, and 10 TDs. Total TDs, 11, because he did rush for 1. So he's going to be a dynamic weapon depending on where he goes. Mark my words. He's going to be a dynamic weapon depending on where he goes. Harold Fannin Jr. will be the faller at the tight end position. Boo, right? Let's get to the wide receivers because wide receiving is where it's at. I got to give the wide receivers a round of applause. Now, look, there were some good wide receivers. I put out my top 5 wide receivers from the Senior Bowl on my X account, so go ahead and check that out at the WayneBreezie, all right, on X. But I feel like the person that rose the most, the person that is going to be money on draft day, my money picks on draft day, Jack Besh, wide receiver, TCU, 6'1", 214, almost 9-inch hands, 33 and 18-inch arms, 75-inch wingspan. This is his season, man. 62 receptions, 1,000-yard receiver, 16.7. That number right there per reception and 9 TDs. This kid is a baller. Now, I got a chance to watch him be a baller against the cream of the crop. And what I loved about him is I'm not sure what his speed is going to be like. I can't really tell. He's a good route runner. And so he found his holes when they played zone. He found his holes in zone, sat there, caught it, boom, took it up the field, got extra yards after the catch. In man coverage, not too many drops. He did ended up getting a big PBU on him in the end zone. We had the touchdown that floated right into his hand, and unfortunately, safety Dan Jackson from Georgia blew that up. But other than that, he was the best receiver to me. I won't say he was the best receiver in practice, but as far as improving, As far as rising, he was the best receiver that rose. I thought Jalen Noel out of Iowa State was dynamic. Both of the kids, Jaden Higgins as well. Several receivers here at the Senior Bowl. But as far as the one that is rising to the top, the one that I feel like is going to rise, and he had a great Senior Bowl, and he was the MVP of the actual Senior Bowl game. Now that that's over, we can talk a little bit about that. You saw it. Led all receiving in that game. 68 yards, touchdown, led receiving. He was MVP in that game. So Jack Besh, TCU, wide receiver, money. Woo, money. Who's the faller at the wide receiver? I do this and I forget. Listen, my expectations for Jalen Royals were high. I'm not going to lie. I thought Jalen Royals was going to come in here and dominate. 5'11", 210, 9 2 and an eighth inch hands. Man, listen, 81-20. Throw the ball to this guy somehow. He could probably go up and grab just about anything. Athleticism is there. But for some reason, he couldn't really get going. Didn't really call his name out much at the Senior Bowl. One of the reasons why I feel like he's fall. Not sure if he's going to be a great blocking wide receiver. And the size, the height, I don't want him to be, is he going to be a slot guy? I'm hoping not. He seems to be able to make big plays. He averaged 15.2 yards per reception, but he seems like a yak guy. Like, get the ball in his hands, in space, let him go out there and do his thing. And that's what I get from Jalen Royals. But I didn't see any of that at the actual Senior Bowl. And so maybe he was underutilized as well, misused, however you want to talk, mistreated. I don't know. But Jalen Royals definitely took a downwards fall for me. Didn't come in and live up to the expectations in which I thought he was. But that doesn't mean he's not going to get drafted. I still have him as maybe day 2, maybe now day 3 guy, possibly 3rd round, 4th round. 4th round, 5th round guy. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. So day 3. So yeah, 4th round, I think is the highest he'll go unless he has a phenomenal testing at the actual NFL Combine. But if from the Senior Bowl, I understand what he did in college. Those are his stats from college. But as far as the Senior Bowl, he took a downward spiral. And last, and certainly not least, the position we all came to see, the offensive line. Now, I didn't break this down into tackles, guards, or centers because just about every offensive lineman played tackle, guard, and center. Okay? They did. But the guy that stood out the most was, I guess, and at North Dakota State, tackle, grade, Zabel. He was the guy. 6'5", big guy, mountain. Give me the mountain guys up there. 316, 9 3/8 inch hands, 32-inch arms. Circle that number. That could be something. And 77.5-inch wingspan. Look, his arm length is small. He's not going to play tackle on the next level. That's probably why they tested him out as guard and center, and he was superb at all 3 positions. This guy was dynamic at all 3 positions. Look what he did in college. He only gave up 1 sack. 1 sack. Total of 6 pressures, 1 sack. Crazy, right? That's crazy. So this dude is a problem, right? So 4 and 2 quarterback hits. I didn't put his quarterback hits up there. But that's it. That's what he did. So 1 sack, 2 hits, 3 hurries. I'll take it. Now, I know the question mark is he's coming from North Dakota State. They didn't really play top-tier competition. I don't. Ask me if I give about top-tier competition. He played against the cream of the crop for a week long and then played well in the bowl game, in the actual Senior Bowl game. I think this kid from Bison, North Dakota, is going to be a problem in the NFL. I think they'll move him into guard. And I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is going to be a first-round draft pick for some team. I can see teams reaching to get that utility player on the offensive line. I can see it a lot. Will he be a 49er? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do a show about who I think is going to be a 49er, who the 49ers need to go get. But everything that he does screams San Francisco 49ers. Versatility, number 1. He's the most versatile offensive lineman here. And he was not only versatile, he was accurate in his versatility. Whether he played tackle on both sides, whether he played guard on both sides or whether he played in the center, Gray Zabel got the job done. So he is the riser. He was money. And then the faller, Ozzy Trapillo, or Pilo, offensive line from Boston College. I mean, every time in the one-on-ones, I watched him get beat. I don't know if he's just an 11-on-11 guy where it needs the rest of the offensive line to kind of like bank on. I don't know. He only gave up 15 pressures in college on 772 snaps. Right tackle. But he did have a couple of good run blocks. So in the Senior Bowl, when they run the ball, they do run plays. They do. But the defense has to go, I want to say, half speed because they're not allowed to hit during practice. In the game, they can hit. But in practice, they are not allowed to hit. So it was tough kind of like watching the run game, but or watching the offensive line in the run game, especially when they did the inside runs, the power runs, right? Because you can't really see who's doing what unless you're seriously sitting there focusing on that. Now, the outside zone run plays you can see a little bit better because once that play breaks up to the outside, you like, oh yeah, that was a good block. Tight end block, crack. Offensive lineman, crack. Block, boom, 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 boom. Can he be an anchor on the opposite side? He has the size to be, but I think the reason why he's a faller for me is just simply because he didn't look as good as the rest of the guys out there. And I didn't go in there with any expectations for him. He just didn't look as good as the rest of the guys out there, in my opinion. But Ozzy Trapilo, I think that's how you say his name, out of Boston College, took the downward spiral. Now listen, what I do exclusively on the Patreon is I go through film. So I'm going to be going through film for some of these players or whatnot and showing you what I'm talking about. So if you want to see that, go ahead and subscribe to the Patreons, www.patreon.com/TheWayne. Make sure you guys go ahead and do just that. And then you'll get some film breakdown on the players that I go through. I'm going to do the film breakdown for the players from the Senior Bowl, both offensive and defensive. Those are my offensive risers and fallers. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure you hit that like button and feel free to share it, man. Listen, if you don't want to support by becoming a member of the Breezie Bunch crew, you can support by sharing it and checking out my other videos. Let me know what you think. Love y'all. Stay up. Keep it faithful to the Bay, baby. Until the next time. Peace.